Turf Talk with Drew Miller.
Welcome to Tiger Turf Talk. We're excited to be partnering with the Toro company to kick off an all-new summer series focused on their upcoming Grounds Leadership Academy happening in June. Over the next 10 weeks, we will be releasing podcasts following Drew's road trip to Minneapolis and back, where he will be meeting with grounds professionals across the country. Please join us as we talk about their careers, the properties they manage, and their favorite Toro equipment. This episode of Tiger Turf Talk is brought to you by the Toro Company. For over 100 years, the Toro Company has been a leader in innovative solutions for turf maintenance. Through a strong network of professional distributors, Toro proudly offers a wide range of commercial-grade equipment. Visit Toro.com to explore their full lineup of products.
Welcome to the first stop of the Toro Grounds Leadership Podcast Tour here on Tiger Turf Talk. Our first stop is the incredible Wrigley Field with the incredible head groundskeeper, Mr. Dan Kiermaier. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on again.
Well, no, thank you for letting me come in. It's been awesome. You got just done with the game, and field looks incredible. Let's start there. How has it been up to this point in the year, just getting sort of everything? I mean, you talked about the beautiful cub out there in the outfield and everything. How has all that been and sort of getting everything together for it?
You know, it's we've done enough of these where it's we get pretty used to it. We had a Winterland event this year for the first time, so that wrapped up in early January, and we had to remove all the flooring from the event. And then we couldn't really do anything until late February when things started thawing out little by little. Got a field installed late February, early March, and from there it's just kind of business as usual. So, like I said, we've done a lot of those here. So, my staff and my crew, everybody, on board, all our vendors, did a great job, and thankfully everything went pretty seamless.
Absolutely, and I mean, we were talking about out there, all your concerts, everything going on. I mean, the field looks impeccable for what it is. And when it comes to constantly non-baseball events, how has that been? Obviously, you're going into one next week. What has just 2023 been like in comparison to years past?
I mean, it's been pretty similar. And the good thing about, all of our concerts, all of our vendors, with Live Nation, G2, all the union labor, we've done this so many times with these guys. And so they kind of know the system and what we ask of them. Yeah. And it really creates, an easy working relationship, just having the same faces and, just doing so many of them, we kind of have a really good routine and system in place that, can get us through and, without having too much damage on the back end.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing that, what amazed me out there was just when you walk through your crews having a great time, seamless, like you said, everything's going great. You walk out on the field, like we said before, there's like 100 people on the field, like it's just normal. I'm like, that's not the environment that I worked in. Everybody needs to be off the grass at all times. But I mean, it's an incredible venue, and everything you do for it, it goes above and beyond, when it comes to being able to use it at all times. What is sort of that mindset for you and your crew in order to accomplish that of, this place is a venue. When you talk about surrounds, everything that's been built up into what the Wrigley Field is today. Yeah. What is that mindset for you?
Well, kind of just how you said, Wrigley's a place people want to come, and people want to use it. So, it's part of our, it's part of our routine. We know where, if the team's gone for 7 days, we might have 1 or 2 days where we can get true work in, a full day. And our organization is good about that, where the day after a homestand, normally, unless we have concerts, day after a homestand, day before a homestand, they try to block off any extra events to give us, some time to get some things done. And that being said, when the teams, if we have an event, for the most part, they're in the evening, so we can still get some daytime work done, like I said, without it being a concert. But it's getting back to your question. It's a place that people want to come to, and
Absolutely.
Now that we have started to get into the kind of the year round use, but it's the the prime months are, June, July, August, September.
Going into it.
So going into these months,
Yes.
we know what to expect. And it's just kind of one of those things you have to roll with because they're going to use it.
Yeah, whether you like it or not, right? You know,
Absolutely.
So the big thing that I mean, when I walked out, I mean, just everything first class, impeccable, edges are perfect, all those things. And again, this is sort of, it goes in with all what we're trying to do with this podcast, or is how do you set that standard when it comes to shit's going to hit the fan? We know this, like that it's never going to just be normal. You know, something's going to happen. Someone else is going to need something. Someone's going to need us for this. How do you set the standard to the point where you can have your assistants run the show and you can focus on other things that are needed when it comes to, again, just the overarching goal of what you guys accomplish on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah. A big part of like our system is just the culture and the guys in the room. We, when we're hiring people, we really, really try to like hire high-end people that go above and beyond. And my entire staff is that way. They're just wired, they know, I can be pulled in a couple different directions and I don't need to be out there to tell them what to do. They all know what to do, when to do it, how to do it. And just having a really good staff and, just guys that, like I said, we've all worked together for the most part. We have a couple guys that are a little bit newer, but for the most part, we've kept the same guys in-house, and they all really enjoy, working here. So we don't have a lot of people move on or leave. So, and then they all know that the field that we work on is seen by millions every single day. So there's, like we could have excuses why, it might not look the best or, but that's just not an option. Like we need to provide, the organization has, concerts so they can put that money into payroll. For and, sure. It's just part of our job is to deliver and allow them to, do everything that they want and keep going without any hiccups.
And a lot of that is rooted in leadership, with you and your assistants are leaders on the crew, obviously. And our podcast tour is based on sort of the event going on in Toro this week coming up. What would you define leadership as, not just for you as a leader of your crew, but just leadership in like general when it comes to being successful in this space of, sports field management? Because better than most. There is just so many things that are unseen from the normal view, and again, that's part of the reason why I do this podcast is to bring people sort of to the light of the fact of all the time, energy, effort that you have towards this one site that is just one of the most iconic places for baseball ever. What would be that definition of leadership for you when it comes to just overall?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into leadership.
100%.
And it's trying to put my guys first. I try to, understand that, like we have a lot of things going on, but people have lives outside of these walls too, and trying to make sure that, the human is good, like outside, like we all get caught up in work and, every one of us puts in a lot of hours, but I really try to do a good job of giving guys days off and thinking about them. Leadership is about taking care of the people that are, working with you and for you. And it's just about thinking ahead before they even thought it, to try to really put them in a spot where they can succeed. So I just really try to, do my due diligence and, be thoughtful on everybody. And, there's times where, we have to come in at 11 o'clock at night and tear down flooring from an event. And that's just what it is.
So. you don't think they're going to be, but there's always something that happens on those nights that just makes it memorable.
It is. And, like I said, we have a great crew and guys that, are understanding and they know that nobody wants to be there at that time. But, it's you're just, as a leader, you're always trying to put people in the best position, possible to succeed here and to enjoy themselves and not get burnt out.
100%. Because that's, I think that again, this is no shots against any other sports field manager in the country. Major League Baseball and minor league baseball is its own animal when it comes to burnout. The time that is put in and expected of you for, again, something that, again, is crucially important. Like, again, what we've talked about it before is, like, again, like, you're doing so much more than just for the players. You had 30,000, 40,000 people in the stands today. Like, that's important. That's significant. Like, it's really hard. And if you want to talk about it, you don't have to. But what are some of those things that you're doing to prevent that burnout? Because you're probably the one that's most primed to burn out. And again, hopefully you're not. Hopefully you're not. But what are you doing, sort of, even for yourself personally?
Yeah.
What are you doing? That might help others.
Yeah. I think it's important to kind of recognize, like I feel like as a groundskeeper that's been doing this long enough now, and July and August roll around and it's the hot months and you've been doing it, all year long. And, we have baseball one weekend, concerts the next, it's trying to recognize. And when you're starting to feel those feelings yourself, the guys underneath you are feeling it as well.
100%.
So what we try to do is, if it's a beautiful sunny day like today, if somebody needs to get out of here early or we're not expecting any sort of bad weather, I try to give guys the option, like, hey, one guy can take off today, one guy can take off tomorrow. It's just really trying to like manage that and just understanding, like I said, that there's life outside of work, and we all pride ourselves in our work and the fields that we work on and what is seen by everybody. But I have 2 kids at home. I have a wife. This upcoming week, I told you earlier, but I'm taking a few days. With the concert and everything being set up. I appreciate
more
it.
than those days, but that's awesome. You're doing it.
Yeah, and I haven't done one of those in a long time. But my wife's starting a new job here in a couple weeks. It's a good time to just kind of get away. I appreciate it. Yeah. She got her doctorate and she's
what'd she
killing
do
it. She's going to be a nurse practitioner. So,
very nice.
But she's worked her butt off to get to this point, and with her starting up, really want to spend some time with the family because I've been putting in a lot here.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's trying to recognize, like, if somebody's a little bit short fused one day, maybe they need to get away a little bit. And I think if you're listening to this and you work in the industry, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, 100%. It's those moments where it's like, and it's been in a couple of TV shows I've been watching. It's like, I love you, but get out of my face.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need this right now. You don't need this right now. We don't want to further this down any other road. And I think that's like really hard, when you really take that to heart, because like you obviously love your guys and you do anything for them. And I think everyone in this industry can speak to that. It's just those moments are hard to face.
Mm-hmm.
And as the leader of a group, it's just something that you don't really want to incite, but at the same time, like, it's hard to make that decision, because no offense to you and other professionals, I'm more prone to situations like that because I work with teenagers, like it's going to happen more frequently, and hopefully it's not happening to any of you, but it happens, and there's sometimes where the short fuse turns into a bomb, and you don't want that, because one of the things I want to get into is the culture, if your culture is out of whack, the product starts to fail, and then you have to deal with other people getting mad and other people, and it's just sort of a chain reaction. But yeah, I mean, it's good that, again, someone like you can take that moment and say, okay, take a break. Like, you need to step away for a minute, So, so let's get into the culture aspect of a crew. I think a lot of people don't take into account like the dynamics of a human being, not just like of a crew, but of single people on a crew.
Mm-hmm.
What has it been like for you to develop the culture? What year is this for you here? This is
9th season, 4th in charge.
So 4th in charge. Taking what you learned from before, developing your own culture. What has that been like, and how have you sort of created, again, a space where guys want to be here every day? Because that's something that I think drives our industry, is the passion for the fact that, hey, I get to be at Wrigley Field every single day. What has it been like sort of developing that culture?
Yeah, that's one of the cool parts. Like, like I said, we have the best crew, and really good personalities and a good mix of, different types of personalities.
Crazy good.
Yeah. So that helps. But yeah, it's, I think everybody's probably worked at a place with good culture. Everybody's probably worked at a place with not so good culture. And when I took over, one of the first things what I said was I want to be the boss that I always wanted to work for.
Yeah. I love that. That is incredible because people don't think like that.
Right.
People who get the position, they're like, all right,
it changes them and their
it's not even it's not even like change them. It's like, I'm in charge. The pressure's on me. Like, now I got to make everything happen. But the fact that you want to do that, that's going to change everything.
And the way I've kind of set it up, I don't want it to be like everything has to go through me. I want it to be us. Like it's an us type of deal. Like this is our field. It's not my field. It's our field. We're the ones that do it all, so I want that each one of them to kind of take, if I want them to be comfortable making a decision without me having to be there because I trust them, like we, if you do a good job, you get guys to see the same things that you see.
Mm-hmm.
And I trust their eyes. I trust their experience. I trust their instincts, and so for me, like I said, it's about, bringing good people in, training them. And then, I really, I'm an easygoing guy.
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard to get me.
You're letting me in.
If you get me mad, good job because
you're an accomplished individual.
Yeah. But and I try to, I hope that trickles down and that people kind of don't feel like they're being watched or micromanaged or anything like that. Because I think when people are working free flowing, and they're not worried about somebody looking over their shoulder, you get the best out of them. We've all been in that spot. The first time you mowed and somebody's watching,
you're like, there are 30,000 people in the stands
right now. You wouldn't normally do, and
you flash for a second. You're like, there is a full stadium right now, and I have to do a perfect line.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't want people to feel that ever. They're all really good at what they do, and like I said, I trust every single one of the guys that work for me.
And that's something that I have seen in my experience is so hard to do, because when it comes to the end of the day, it's all on you. But the way that you're leading, it's lending to you to the fact that you're going to have people that are going to have your back. And I always go back to my first boss down at Virginia Tech. He would always outwork all of us, and it wasn't like I got you, like I'm going to beat you type of thing. It was, this is just who I am, and we just want to make sure that he actually, like, we did good by him, because there are those 40,000 eyes, the probably millions, honestly, for here at Wrigley with the television and everything. Like, there's so much to it that the fact that you're relying on those guys, it just changes the game, and it allows you to take the time off when you need to and to give them the time off when they need it. So it's incredible that you can do that.
I appreciate that.
Some of the things that when we were out there, the Cub and everything, when it comes to like the annual sort of plan, things shift way too often, how does it lend to you to have your guys have a say? And obviously the Cub in the middle of the field, that's someone who's very creative, somebody who has the skill set to make something like that happen in such a short period of time. How do you get the best out of your guys when it comes to whether it's the clay, the grass, what people don't know about what you do every day, How do you get the best out of them, and what is it that you're focusing on to ensure that not only are they doing the best work that they do, but they're also having multiple skill sets so that you can maneuver them when you need to in case somebody's out for a while, hurt or something like that. I'm babbling. I'm gonna let you.
No, yeah. I have an open door policy. If you turn that camera around that door, it's always open. So if somebody comes to me and they want to try something or they want to do something different, like I'm always open to, you want to do it, I'll let you do it. Mm-hmm. Just do a good job.
For sure.
The guy that did the Cubby Bear out there, Levi Dreesen, he's been on the crew as long as I have. He's very talented groundskeeper. They gave us 4 days to they did a fan vote. That design won.
Were you informed before the fan vote?
I knew it was coming. I didn't know what it was going to be.
You saw it on Twitter. You're like,
it was a Twitter and Instagram one.
like, why are you doing this to me?
I'll tell you, truth be told, I did not have any part of that. I let Levi do it. He designed and scaled everything. We did everything by flag. He flagged everything. He measured with rope. He did everything, and he did that. Even some of the design on his own time. So
you had the Cubby Bear, the head in earlier this season.
Yeah, we did that. Yeah, and he did the same thing. So like, it's kind of recognizing people's talents and their skill sets and their strengths, and just giving them more. Throw them a little bit more. If you let people, show off their talent, it's going to pay off. For you and for them.
Absolutely.
I'd be stupid to sit there and spend all my. I've got a million other things going on.
Yeah.
He's really good at that type of stuff, and I have other guys that are really good at other things. And it's if they want to, do something like that, or they want to, be a little bit more involved with. I have a guy that, he's involved with all the our extra event meetings, and he does some of these Microsoft Teams meetings on his own time, like not at work. And it's just, I have guys that want to go above and beyond and to deliver the best product that we possibly can. So it's, people throw me a lot of credit, but I can't tell you guys enough how much it is them. I have the guys to do it.
You and me are the same way. I mean,
unbelievable.
it's all my students when it comes to our program, but I will say this, it's because of what you've done to, situate that, I always tell my kids, like, student empowerment is going to change the world. Like, that's in a high school setting, any classroom or whatever. If you're telling a kid what to do, 90% of them aren't going to listen. 90% of them aren't going to do it. It's just not in their like way of life, and we're in my class, you're able to, in a way, let them make the decisions, whether it's the paint scheme on the football field, the mowing pattern on the baseball field, doing a cal sign design on the mound or whatever. Like, what you're doing is empowering them to do what they love.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes them come back even better the next time. And they want to do more challenging things like that, like it's rooted in you having the trust and you being able to create that space. So again, big props to you and everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
Some of the times, obviously, it doesn't always go right, and there are plenty of times, like you see things, you're like, what is sort of your mindset going into a situation like that, where it's maybe the tarp didn't get on the field? We've all been there. Yeah. So like, how is it, again, in your sort of leadership style to approach that situation so that the next time it's all good? If that's the right way of saying that. And again,
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's fail forward, like if you mess up, just don't let it happen again.
Yeah.
Everybody in any industry is going to screw up at one point or another. We've had our fair share, and I've had my fair share.
Exactly. That's what I tell my kids. I'm like, I'm the furthest thing from great. I tell a story about running to a wall pad 15 minutes before a game on a drag. I'm like, yeah, that didn't go so well.
Exactly. And like I said, we've all been there.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's learn from it. Don't let it happen again.
Yeah.
I can't really say much more on that, but it's
no, for sure.
It's,
and I didn't mean to ask.
No. And I'm just, it's, like I said,
there's not
I
much
think
more past that.
There's
really.
always, hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah.
And there's been times where I've done a cultural practice or something that, and that, this year we radio seeded, in mid-April when we had a 70-degree week. And then the week after that, we had 33, 34 degrees every single night.
This year has been crazy, hasn't it?
It was beat the hell up for, a minute, but it eventually came back because grass always grows back.
It does.
Especially if you have seed in it.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
But, it's one of those things, like I said, I mean, people from the outside looking in, they can second guess stuff, but like there's reasons behind why we do, certain
100%.
things. Sometimes they work out great. Sometimes they don't. but it's about learning, and I document so I'm taking pictures all the time
awesome.
to see how it responded, and we document all of our sprays, all of our fertilization, everything like that. And those pictures are kind of, you can go back to, what did we spray
What was it?
after this concert when it was really beat up?
Yeah.
And then
How
you can
did it
see the
respond and all
before
that?
and after. So that's big,
That's
having
incredible.
that just reference,
Yeah.
to go back to. And because we've used, it's an HGT bluegrass out there. We've used that same blend for a number of years now. So we kind of know what we're going to get.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's different every time, like this upcoming week, we're dry for the most part. But it is supposed to get, into the mid 80s. So it could be a little hot,
Just
but
love that.
yeah. But that being said, we can go back to our references because there's been other hot conferences or concerts. I'm sorry. And
Conferences too. I got you.
Yeah. What wedding agent did we spray? What
Yeah.
what helped us get through that tough stretch? And that's a big part of it.
Culturally, like this year, I mean, I think it hit everyone. I mean, there was a time where we were sitting 85 in like March in Virginia, and I was like, I know this isn't gonna last. If it does, fantastic. But the Bermuda wakes up and then it dropped back down, and everything was just like hindered. There was a big, large patch. POA popped. Everything was just like, oh no, like this is like, I'm like, this is great. No, it's not. Never mind.
Right.
So like, what has it been like, and how is Wrigley so unique? I mean, we've talked about it before with the lake and everything affecting just weather and what you can expect. How do you combat all of that? And obviously the records do a huge part of that, but like for you, how have you seen that change since when you first started here into now, where again, it's been a pretty mild spring, honestly, which is great for the bluegrass. But, sorry.
No,
I gotta stop babbling.
No, you're fine. We just had our first really like rain game the other night, and we're in middle of June. So
Hell yes.
being here in Chicago, and
the windy city's not that nice to you usually.
Exactly. So this year it's definitely been unique. It's been very dry. Our humidity levels have been low, so our disease pressure really hasn't been there. We still spray a lot of preventative fungicides just going into the concerts.
You don't want to.
With it
You're
being
like,
covered.
hey, it's going great. Why would we put this out?
And it's like even though the conditions with weather haven't been there, it's you still just if you spray a light, you sleep at night.
Exactly.
I've always been
You're
told
like,
that.
You're like, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I do that?
Yeah, but like I said, it's been dry, so I feel for our guys because we have a lot of outside landscape, all the flowers you saw outside, and some grass
which is beautiful,
areas.
by the way.
But none of them have any sort of irrigation, so our guys have been watering nonstop. So
I'm sorry,
but hey,
it's funny when I was in Pittsburgh, the Heinz Field. You know Chris Ecton?
Yeah,
Chris is very funny because it was during the summer and we had removed the field for concert season, so like. He was very keen on making sure everything looked great.
Yep.
Again, like another one of those guys that is out there with you instead of just sending you out to do the landscape stuff, There was just one area that we'd have to water, and I thought it was crazy how much there was, and everything else was irrigated. I'm like, it's crazy. Like the fact that you guys have to do all that. Like it was boxes underneath an overpass, so there was no water. So like, and again, of course, it wasn't a bad thing or anything. No. It was just tedious, So, and I commend again. Ballpark guys usually are like, I don't want to do landscape. Like,
it's one of those things. It's before you get into the ballpark, you're walking up to the ballpark, so it's part of the whole thing. The
100%.
whole, I guess the whole. I don't know the word for it, but it's part of
the
ambiance.
Ambiance. That's the word. I was like, I'm gonna sit here for 5 minutes and not know the word.
And for us, it gives a lot of our part-time staff extra work. So and then they get to prove what they can do. When we're tied up in here, those guys handle all that stuff and they do a heck of a job. It's one of those things. Like I said, they prove to me time and time again why I don't need to be involved in every little project or. They don't need my final say. I trust them. If they say it's good, it's good.
That's incredible because some of the best that I've worked with, I was always one to double check, triple check. Like, you sure you want me to do this? Like, I was like, but I mean, it's just awesome to have that sort of, again, that culture here, and that's incredible for you. One of the big things when it comes to baseball and Wrigley Field, there's just so much to it. What has it meant to you to sort of be, again, that groundskeeper of such, again, I mean, holy ground, really, when it comes to like baseball? Because I mean, you were a baseball guy and everything
Absolutely,
before.
yeah.
Like coming here, is just probably incredible. It's just, what has that been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up 3 hours east of here, so I came to a lot of games growing up. And when I got into the industry, people would ask me, "Hey, Dan, what's your dream job?" And I would jokingly say Wrigley Field.
Of course.
Fast forward to a couple years ago when they hired me or decided to hire me. I was crapping my pants. It's like you've done this your whole life.
You
know
said
what
it that
to
one
do,
time and it was a joke, but it's real.
yeah, and to have pretty much just the weight of the world on your shoulders, that was, it was. I'm not gonna lie, it was not easy. I felt like I was learning something new every single day. I didn't know how to manage a budget. I didn't know how to do, set up a program. It's just a lot of stuff that you kind of take for granted when you're, I guess, in my previous position.
As an
That
assistant,
when they say here's the keys to the car, you need to know every part of that car and how to
might
run
get a couple dings. It's okay. That's the
But
point. It's all about learning.
we talked about that earlier. There's things that I was probably I tried to be too involved with everything my first year, and
I mean, that's you have to, and to keep your sanity
Exactly.
with everything. So,
but you kind of grow into it, and you get a little bit, like I said, you just start trusting everybody more because you realize you can't do everything.
Yeah.
There's like I said, there's meetings that you go to every single day. You have to trust that the field's going to be just as good as it was, if I was out there watering, if the next guy's out there watering. And so, just part of, getting back to the Wrigley, it's been a dream come true, and the organization from top to bottom, and that's, grounds crew especially, everybody's great, but, departmentally, there's so many guys that are just, it's a true team effort, and it's from top to bottom. Our event people, they are constantly informing, and they're always thinking about what's best for the field and how they can help us. And
you're answering my next question, but that's awesome.
It's everybody's got everybody else's back, and it's been awesome. So I can't thank, everybody that's been a part of it and for trusting me to do it,
for sure.
Like I said, I thankfully have the staff. It doesn't have to be just me, but it's been as good as I thought it would be, if not better.
Just getting started, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously you sort of spoke to it right there, but what has it been like? And again, developing the culture on a grounds crew is hard enough, but being able to sort of be a part of the culture of the Cubs, as an organization, from player development when it comes to the field. Like, again, that's one of my favorite things that I get to tell my parents, because my parents are always like, why do you teach this? It's like, well, I love it, and I want your kids to love it and be able to do what I was able to do. But the impact the grounds crew has on a game, what you're able to talk with the coaches and what do you want here? Do you want it too wet so they're slower? Do you want the infield wetter so the ball's slower? What do you want in the sense of this homestand versus the last? And then you obviously have your stadium ops where you have the events before the game where you're prepping the field, and you really shouldn't have to worry about those things, but you have to be able to trust them to make sure that everything's flowing the right direction, and you're off the field in a certain amount of time for their anthem or whatever, and all of that, all the chaos that we all love, know. What has it been like sort of being a part of that culture? And as the head groundskeeper, being a huge part of it, because again, when it comes again, I still go to it every time at SFMA. Where the game begins, is the field,
Yeah.
What has it been like being part of that culture?
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. And you realize when you get in this position how much communication matters. You want to let everybody know, what you're doing,
phones.
why you're doing it.
You got the bat phone, the home phone, the work phone, and the other work phone.
But it's, I mentioned we had a rain game the other night. It's, trying to be on the phone with our weather services, giving the information to our internal people so MLB can make a decision. And, there's just so many people involved.
And that's
you
a
know,
whole
it's
other
for
level you
one-
don't think about. Yeah.
It's for one baseball game, but there's the concessions people, there's the security, then they all have people that are working under them, and their decisions are being kind of based on when the field is going to be ready. So
Yeah.
like there's a million different things that are going into it.
Yeah.
And then it kind of all hinges on what am I telling these people? And
Yeah.
like I send out daily weather reports to our entire, organization, where, they can just at least have an idea of what to expect in case they need to make any staff changes, if they need to
Event
bring in
changes,
more
yeah.
people because they're expecting a delay or anything like that,
Yeah. Which is awesome because that's the stuff we don't hear about. That's the stuff we don't know about. Because like when you're talking, everybody sees the groundskeeper and they're like, oh, you should take care of the field. Oh no, like there's 75 things to make sure that the field obviously is ready for the game, but the field's ready for the staff, the fans, everybody above the ground level.
Yeah.
That, it's incredible to, a daily email is something that's like absurd to a lot of people, being able to send a daily email is just like, no, I'm not doing that, but being able to give someone a warning, that comes back tenfold, because they'll have your back because you let them know, oh, I'm prepared now because I know it's going to rain today.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. It's just something you don't think about. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
For sure. But yeah, it's right now it's the middle of season. I've already had, discussions on next year's concerts, this upcoming Winterland
2029.
So you're just always trying to stay a step ahead.
Yeah.
And that's where having a good crew underneath you, they can take care of.
And you
day to
can be
day,
the step ahead.
They, while I can sit back, and start trying to plan, and they're asking for numbers on how much things will cost, and
Yeah.
you're just trying to like always be that step ahead. And like I said, it's part of it is informing, like, hey, these could be the ramifications for certain. We're going to do upper deck golf next week. It's the first time we're doing that
During the season?
during the season.
I thought that was the summer. I mean, it is the summer. I thought off season. My bad.
Well,
Really?
Larry up in Minnesota, he just did it. So if he has any, I'm going to give him a call this week, and if he has any issues with it. But
Jeez.
but that's part of the fun. It's
Oh, it is.
you're
No,
always
I'm just,
learning.
I'm just thinking
something
about
new.
it. I'm like, that's normally like, like right after the season ends, you have it on there for like 4 weeks. But no, that's really cool.
So it's just 4 or 5 days here, but it's just about it's finding new answers, or I guess
You should also
trying
should also get up there yourself.
that was part of my stipulations. I said,
First of all,
we're setting this
if
up.
this is happening, I get an hour with my staff before this all starts.
we're gonna do it, test it out. So.
And then you start this whole thing where you guys are standing in the shop and you have to go out with the golf cart that collects all of it. And you're like, if you get out, you get $20 without getting it.
Yeah.
Somebody go run upstairs and tell them to aim at the cart.
Yeah, right. But
Sorry.
no, it's just that part of it all, keeps you on your toes,
Yeah.
because baseball, all things considered, it can be kind of monotonous, getting in, the latter half of the season. So just kind of doing these new things and proving that, it can be done. It's cool on our end, I guess be the ones that can do it, So it's
Yeah. And I mean, again, it goes back to the nobody knows, that's just so cool, you know. When it comes to your field, obviously, I mean, it looks incredible. You have work from homestand to homestand. What are and I'm shifting the conversation, sorry, but the cultural practices you're focusing on, like what are you, what's the right term? Non-concert break, which is probably only like 2 for you, right? You probably have a concert way too often.
This July we don't have any concerts, but we have
Good for you.
a couple other things. We have a handful more, in August. So
What are you focusing on culturally? Sorry, when you have an actual break.
yeah, no, we aerify after every homestand.
Yeah.
That's
Standard practice,
we want
right?
that field to breathe. We want to be able to take on, all these extra events and all the foot traffic. So, that Pro Core 648, that's
my baby.
That's
my
probably
baby.
one of the most important pieces of equipment we have.
Let me tell you a story real quick. So we help out in like our community and whatnot. So like we go to other schools and we like, whether it's aerating, whether it's painting their field, whether it's doing just random things that they need. They obviously pay the program back, but so we went over with the 648 to a high school, and it's a brand new field. And I was there when they installed it. It was awful because there were boulders and everything underneath it and all these things and the sod. Oh my God. So think about the first base cutout. So like you're here, grass, foul territory, foul lines like right here. Mm-hmm. The sod that was on the edge of that cutout, it would go to the right, and it was the edge of the foul territory on the warning track. And I'm like, you need to like tell them right now to go back out there, roll it up, or you need to tell them you're never taking the field and they need to redo the whole thing because they need to be redone anyways. Yeah. One of the big things was that there were rocks underneath it. And the school got a new athletic director, and I like him, so I was like, you know what, we'll come over. I'm not sure if it's going to work or anything. So I get to the softball field, everything's fine. Like the field played okay when it came to, actually poking holes. Get to baseball. We're going down the edge of the infield because, again, the infield's awful and it needed it. Mm-hmm. All you see is I'm like, stop. 7 tines are gone. It's like, I've never seen this before, because at Brentsville, like, we do a good job of taking care of fields, making sure we are working moisture into it, and it must have been dry too. But there was 2 passes there, one there, one back. I lost 13 tines, and I was like, I'm not doing this ever again. You're gonna have to. I had to write this whole proposal for the county to, like redo it. But that's another thing. But I was like, I have never seen tines snap like that. So one of the holes we dug out as far as we could, and there's just a big boulder that we couldn't find the edge of it. And I was like, you installed this last year and nobody said, let's pick up the big boulder? Like, I was only out there a couple days, like, this is wrong, you know what, all of this is wrong, so you need to fix this. And they were like, you know what, it's fine, we'll deal with it later. I was like, sure, and you and your $200,000 later. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's rough.
It's good times, but we love Toro equipment. I do have to mention that. So
they put out top of the line stuff. Everything they do is awesome.
For sure.
We're always focused on edge work. That's a couple days before the homestand, we'll edge and get everything. Even if they're feeling good, we still will touch everything up every single time. That's non-negotiable. Edges are very important.
You got that from Ryan and all those guys in New York. That's where I learned how to do it. It's just every single homestand. It's gorgeous how they did it. I'm like, no, I want to do it. And I'm at a high school level, so it doesn't work that way.
No, I hear you. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
All of our, I have a guy that, there's a guy for each bullpen. There's a guy on the mound and the home plate, that's their babies, and they, will touch everything up, make sure slopes are, to spec, so that's a day right there. A couple days out, we're flooding the infield to try to, event based, but if we can get 2 days out of a homestand and we're putting it underwater a couple times and obviously nail dragging and doing all this stuff. I mean, we don't do anything crazy that somebody else, there's no secrets. We're doing the same stuff everybody else does. We're spraying it, we try to get, a foliar every 2 weeks, a soil spray, mixed in, if and when the time, just based on what we have going on. We're just, I have a bigger staff, I have 8 full-time guys, so we're able to, that's
good for you.
We're able to really kind of focus and dedicate the time that's needed on each little area on this field.
You have so many concerts and events, you got to have that staff. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's like you said, it's much needed because
for sure.
We have the
your
ground crew here.
Have to be impossible.
Yeah, and thankfully this year we have 2 days after every concert, and 3 for the upcoming.
That's a lot of time.
We've done the 1 day turnaround, so those are tough. But
God bless.
2 days is an eternity, especially because if you have rain or anything on that 1 day, it makes it really hard to get stuff done. So and we've, knock on wood, we've been pretty fortunate with weather. Yeah. After all these concerts for the most part.
How many more concerts do you have?
In total, 8 more concerts. 3, but I always.
You're making it sound like that's nothing.
I always count the setups. How many setups do you have?
How many setups do you have?
So 3 more. So we have 4 in total with because we just had.
Did you have the Taylor Swift Psycho stuff?
No, that was
okay.
the guys at Soldier took that on one for us.
Oh
So.
gosh, I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but it is scary how crazy her fans are. And again, don't come at me. I'm not saying it's not a bad thing. Good for you, but like they are dedicated people. Let me tell you. So, which makes it a nightmare for us. On the Did you had Wallen, right? Waylon?
He's coming up. So,
okay.
We had
That's
Dead
a really
Company
big one.
for 2
Okay,
for
gotcha.
the first 2 shows.
And this is their last, so it was a lot more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the crowd showed out, and I'll concerts are obviously a headache for all of us, but I'll say this. I mean, Wrigley's an awesome place to come watch a show.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
it's
I'm
a blast. So you
get
can,
out
you
there
can
for
see
like
it,
the little bit. You're like,
it,
now we got work.
Yeah. I am attending the Morgan Wallen one on Friday with my wife and a bunch of the guys.
It's just funny because like the tickets for those that my kids have walked in my classroom and told me what they're spending on. I'm like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
I think she said she spent $900. I was lucky if I got $5 for something. Right? You know what I mean, like, no, it's my money. I was like, no, it's not. Don't even lie to me right now. But no, that's awesome. Again, that's awesome. You get to go.
Yeah. So it's going to be the first one I've gone to in a couple of years, but my wife's a big Morgan Wallen fan, so we're doing that. And like I said,
just get in here about 6 hours before everybody gets crazy. Right? And you're like, we're just going to hang out here afterwards too, put up a bed and we'll just stay here tonight,
Yeah, we'll be back bright and early the next.
Baseball season is upon us. Toro's Field Pro 6040 was created with ball fields in mind. The Field Pro's multi-tool system allows 4 tools to be carried at once, significantly reducing the time required preparing infields. Scarifying, grading, and dragging can now be completed in a single pass, saving you time and effort. Visit Toro's website today to learn more about the Field Pro's 6040.
Start repairing everything. But
again, those are things that, and again, this isn't at any organization in general. It's just those are the things you can do to keep people happy, and morale happy,
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the concert's going to happen anyway. We might as well enjoy it.
Why wouldn't you let your staff in, and again, I'm not saying like to any certain staff, but like ground staff should be someone that you should prioritize when it comes to like, oh, we really need to take care of these guys because we don't have a field if they're not here, So, and I mean, that is funny. One of the big things, and I want to talk about with you too, internships and everything that goes with bringing in that next generation. There are so many things that people don't take into account when it comes to a kid's sort of mindset. Like, why would I go work on a golf course for $15 an hour when I can go make $17 at Chick-fil-A or something? I'm like, there's a difference. And if it's something you're passionate about, you definitely want the experience.
Absolutely.
But some of those things that I think a lot of the golf courses in our area that do that sort of puts it apart, they feed them. I'm like, it was like, people don't understand that's like $15 back in their pocket. Like
absolutely.
that's something that organizations, and I'm like, for groundskeepers specifically, have an apartment attached to the job, whether that's nearby or whatever, or like a stipend or something like where it's like, hey, we want you to be happy and we want you to be, able to help us the best you can. Here's a little something extra, So, and I'm sure they do a phenomenal job here for you. So
they take care. And we have 3 interns this year, and
that's incredible. Wow,
awesome. So
3.
We do 3 every year.
So let's talk about that. What's your internship program like? What can a kid expect? There's many times where interns are sort of not involved in the sense of like not getting the opportunity to do stuff. And I know just from talking to you and everything you do, I know it's not like that here. No. So what is it like, sort of your development of that internship program to be able to bring 3 in? That's awesome.
When I have my interviews, I tell them, you can see it, you're going to do it. So we have guys mow. They're not mowing on game days. I'll say that. That's a little bit more sacred.
No, for sure.
But they're mowing, when the team's out of town. They're doing all the stuff that we do. Like we have them right along with, we have a John Deere sprayer, so we can fit 2 guys on. So the guy that's spraying, he will teach them how to mix chemicals and how to clean it and all the, all everything that goes into it.
Yeah.
But like they're gonna do that stuff, and like. All of my internships I worked with Ryan. Ryan was my first job in baseball. Ryan Woodley with the Brewers now.
Incredible guy.
He threw me in and he let me do everything that I wanted.
Yeah.
Jason Demink up at University of Michigan, same thing. I worked with him the summer following. It's like there wasn't anything that they didn't not let me do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I learned, that's, I want these guys to come in. I want them to walk away knowing how to take care of a baseball field and everything that goes into it. We don't want them to come and pick gum off the bottom of a bench.
Yeah, probably not.
Just to break the warning track and break up seeds or anything like that. I want them to come in, take valuable experience and learn something. And then down the road, hey, if we have somebody leave, we know that this person can come in and do the job.
That's what really, and the way that you're running it, I think that's what changes sort of the outlook of your future with your crew. Like there are so many people that leave this industry because of their experiences in their internships. Like this guy was awful to me. I didn't like him. He didn't give me any opportunity. I was just a weed eater on the golf course. I just picked seeds, like you said, that I wasn't doing anything. It's being able to be up front at the front where you're interviewing. Like that's something that, again, this is where I want to go as a 17, 18-year-old, 19-year-old, whoever it is, coming for, again, probably their first time away from their families and stuff like that. Like to be able to trust you and understand that like you're going to be there for them, it changes everything, because yes, down the road, if you had a great experience with this kid, or they're going to be able to prove to the point where like, hey, they're going to be an awesome help, they're going to be an asset, and that's what I've always spoken to different people that I've worked for, like by doing the internships right, or your interns right, you're going to develop those assets that might not come back to you, but in the future, like maybe they had an intern at their place, wherever they came from, and you need someone you can trust his judgment or her judgment. Like that's what's incredible about this industry, because, and again, I'm not taking a shot at any older folks or anybody, but like a lot of that new fresh blood is what are those people, like Ryan, like you, like Matt, like it's just, there are so many opportunities that certain people can cause not to happen for those kids, and the fact you have 3 is incredible. I mean, that's awesome that I know a couple of my former bosses call me and I'm like, they're in high school, right? I can't just ship them up there, So, but again, that lends to everything towards the future, and what are some of the things that maybe that are not field related that you might think about sort of like when it comes, not even your interns, but like your assistants that, like you said, your first year as head, there are so many things you're like, oh, here we go. Like, do you do anything like training or anything for your guys when it comes to stuff like that?
So what
Sorry.
You're good. What we do with our guys, so like our interns will shadow like a certain guy. Like, so like I said, we have a mound and a home plate and a bullpen guy. And like, so one homestand, they'll be
that's awesome
solely on the mound. Cause and
it's so simple too.
And that's the thing. It's like, I mean, the way I did the mound could be a little bit different than the way the guy that does it now does it. But like, there's, you kind of learn what works for you, and we kind of let the interns kind of decide that, like I said, the mound and the home plate guy might do things a little bit different. They get the same result. Yeah. It's always good. Never had any issues. So it's kind of letting them see how different people do things. And it also puts those guys on my staff in like a leadership position because they have somebody watching them.
Yep.
So like they're a little bit more comfortable that, teaching somebody the next time around. It's just, it's good all the way around. And, being in my spot now, I don't have as much time as I used to like sit there and, walk people through every single step. So I rely on my staff to do all that, and explain the whys and the hows and all that goes into the stuff. And it's good for everybody because they know they can come to me and ask me any question. But like I said, I just can't sit there and take the time to, walk you through
100%. But like that, like those are the things, again, the way you've set it up is where it does it for itself in a way, like being able to have, and we can get into mentors. So you're talking about Ryan and everybody, like being able to be a mentor to someone who can then mentor someone else. Like it's that generational thing that it's hard to develop. It's hard to make that connection, to have your assistant be that mentor for that kid, because, I mean, the way things sort of go when, you work with Ryan moved on to the Mets, worked with Matt got a job, Ryan moved up, Ryan went to the Brewers then after moving up, like he now mentored people that he can call on, like, hey, I've
Absolutely.
got a job, I want you to come with me. Like, there's just so many things that, again, a lot of bosses can't do that. They can't let go. They have to micromanage because that's their sanity and what they want to do. For you, what are some of those mentors for you that were, again, sort of that rock in creating what the culture is here? The thing that I love that you said was the taking what you like and how it works, because guess what? We're getting the same product, but it works for you any certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And again, for you starting off as a head here, like, you took from what you learned from before and brought in stuff that you wanted to do. You wanted to be the boss that everybody wants, not everybody, what you wanted as the boss. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm twisting my
No,
words
you're
here. Good. Yeah. So, like, who sort of helped with that sort of development?
Yeah, no, I've been lucky to have a lot of really good mentors. Ryan Woodley, I worked with him in Staten Island. He introduced me to baseball and how much fun this job can be, and the environment and what it should be, because we had a really good group of guys up there in New York, and we had a lot of fun, and on and off the field. It's part,
sure.
it's not all here in the ballpark,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just going out and having a couple beers with the guys.
Yeah.
It's, you need to let off some steam every now and again.
A safety party, I think Yoder used to call it.
Yeah,
Safety meetings.
Safety meeting, yeah. That's a good way to put it.
OSHA safety.
Yeah. So Ryan's been a huge one. Jamie Maringer, who's, he works for Advanced Turf Solutions, but I worked with him under, when I was in my time in Cincinnati, and he still does a lot of work with us. Yeah. He's a guy I've learned a tremendous amount about grass.
Mm-hmm.
He's so knowledgeable, and any question I have, he's always got a really good resolution to, how to fix it or how to go about it. So relying on him and his judgment, he's been a huge part of my career. Joe Fitzgerald, who used to run the Camelback Ranch down on the Dodgers side.
That's crazy. That whole facility is insane. He's
now with Minnesota Sod Company, but he was one of those guys that, I learned so much about, like, just dirt from him. He was the best dirt guy I've ever met, and just how to take care of it on a day-to-day basis. It's just his I only worked with him for 6 months, and some of the stuff that he taught me way back then I still used every single day. And then another one that, here at the Cubs, Roger Baird, who, he was the head groundskeeper here for 20 some years, and he moved up to a higher role where he's kind of overseeing, all of ballpark operations. But he's been somebody that I can, go to if I have any issues. He's always had an open door. Yeah, absolutely. Anything I see, he's already done, So there's a lot of people, there's people that I haven't mentioned that I'm sure, like, if in 10 minutes I'll remember.
We love you all, we promise.
I try to really learn something from everybody, It's, from you and the conversations, like the way you talk about leadership and the way you talk about your kids, like, I can tell, like, there's things you can take from people if you pay enough attention, So, like, like I said, there's a number of people that have helped get me to where I am, and help keep me here too. Like I said, I don't have answers for every question.
I definitely don't.
I make a lot of phone calls. And thankfully, it's just kind of, if you surround yourself with the right people, things kind of take care of themselves. But I by no means got here just by
I hear
on
you.
my own.
Yeah,
like, there's been so much help along the way, and like I said, I've just been fortunate to be surrounded by really, really good people.
Absolutely. One of the things that I think drives a lot of what we have as sports field managers is passion. And I'm always curious, and we probably talked about this before, but where is your sort of passion rooted in, field maintenance? There's so many, like we've talked about, so many different things going on, so many different factors, and you have to love it. Where is your love for this come from, and how is it, sort of motivate you every day? I mean, I always get the question, why are you a teacher? Like, you could have been like in the NFL or MLB, wherever you want. I was like, my kids, like I wouldn't teach if it wasn't for my kids, it'd be, like I would say, I'm stupid, if I was like in a classroom, if I hated it, what is it for you,
I mean, you get into this industry because you want to work outside, you want to work with your hands, you want to, you want to be around the game, like I grew up playing baseball. I love it, and then you get in this role and you realize there's more to it, but it's like, it's about, proving that even, if we're pushing the envelope as much as we can, that it can still be done. And I just like the challenge of it all, because it's every year it's different.
Yeah.
Whether it's the weather, whether it's, the events or this or that, it's just always a challenge, it's never easy. It's, it keeps you, just fresh, by having, new issues or new whatever. But I love that part of it. And then, like I said, we've talked this whole conversation. It's been about the crew and the guys being in the locker room, and kind of doing it with the people that I get to do it with every single day. That's what I love. This job is hard in a lot of ways, but these guys make it easy, and it's fun to come in here and, kind of give each other some shit every now and again. And, just
you create a family,
it's fun, man.
It's all,
we try to have fun. It's not always fun, but it's,
you're not having fun. It's hard to do,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we just really enjoy each other's company, and, to be able to work where we get to work too. I mean, it's a dream come true, man. That's what I love. And, I like I said, it's just, really, really, I don't know how I got so lucky to be here sitting, doing this job and being able to have these conversations, but I've been very fortunate.
We're lucky to have you, for sure.
Well, I appreciate that, but it's just been a dream come true.
Absolutely. It's something that, again, you just, I love having these conversations, because, it's, a lot of people in your life that don't have it, they don't want it. They don't want to be where they're working. They don't want to be like, being able to see people who enjoy their job and love what they're doing is something that, if you're not, you should probably go figure out something else, type of thing. So, something I do want to get into, there's a lot of new things sort of on the horizon when it comes to turf grass, just in general. One of those things, and especially with Toro, one of the big things is electrical, moving towards more eco-centric stuff and autonomous mowers and all that. Have you looked into anything like that? I think Greg out in San Francisco has the Husqvarnas and whatnot. Like, again, I wouldn't do it, but like, again, it works for whoever it is. Have you looked into anything like that? And have you had any of those discussions, and it doesn't have to be mower based, it can be anything based,
I mean, I feel like with the industry, like technology is always going to be a factor, and it's, probably, within 10 years, this will all be battery operated everything.
Yep.
The autonomous mowers, it's, for certain situations, it's right.
It's more golf, really.
Yeah, but for us here, I like having a guy that's, on the mower. It gives him a job. It gives them.
It doesn't run into the ivy,
Doesn't run into the ivy.
Which is beautiful, by the way. For the first time seeing it, it was incredible.
Like for me, like it's part of my job is to be the organization's eyes and ears for my industry and kind of to see what's coming and what's next.
Yeah.
And so, thankfully, like with the SFMA and, we do the conference and the exhibition, the exhibits, and,
you going to Daytona next year?
I am.
Very
so
nice.
I'll see you down there.
Yeah,
So
we'll grab a beer.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's trying to stay up and ahead and, to keep things, in mind if things are going to be changing, and it's going to affect our jobs or, just it's going to be something we have to work around, that's just part of it. And, it's thankfully, like I said, it's talking to other guys in the industry and what works, what doesn't, I haven't talked to Greg or, I think Dave up in Boston's using those too, but
yes.
The next time we see each other, I'll definitely ask the questions, and see how they like them. But,
it's easy in San Fran though, a little bit, because there's no pattern,
Yeah, right. So, but
I couldn't do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you do phenomenal work, Greg, but I got to do pattern. That's my thing that I love.
Yeah,
just plug it in and going and mowing.
Yeah, and that's part of the the big reason why we all got into it.
Yeah.
It's like you want to get on that mower and you want to be the one putting the pattern in. So
putting the cub in the field.
yeah, and it's like because we all take a lot of pride in that. You know, and people, how do you get those lines so straight? Do you string them? You know what I mean? Well, it's a skill. Like anybody else.
It takes many years to perfect.
Exactly.
My kids, it's the funny when they get on the mower, they're like, "That is awful." Oh my god! I was like, my first time, I ended up 20 feet to the right. Like you're not gonna throw a straight line your first time. There's this one girl, I don't say her name. Her name's Carly. She worked on a golf course and everything, and she got into it, and she used to like get visibly angry with herself when she didn't mow straight lines.
Yeah.
So I was like, Carly, calm down, okay? It is not that big a deal.
Yeah.
I promise you. You are way better than anything I've done.
Yeah.
Even now, after I've had all this time,
Trust me, she's probably better than I am. The guys they don't even let me mow anymore.
Really?
I'm banana lines everywhere. They get mad because I screw up their patterns.
You know what? I want the bananas. We're doing it.
Yeah, I get in about one mow a year, and that's enough for me. Like I said, out there on the field, I'm a dirt guy. Like I love it all, but like I love the dirt.
Yeah, it's just. It's so, and really, like you said before, like finding your own way is something that's just cool about it, and it's funny to see my kids do after I've taught them, and like even in their own way, they're sort of learning things differently in their like just experience. Like there's no one else that's a professional that's teaching them that, but they're doing things differently.
Yep.
But I'm not stopping them because I've seen it done other ways just like that with other professionals. I'm like, it works. Why not? Let it go.
Absolutely.
Just let them ride,
Absolutely.
So, yeah. I am here with Toro. So we talked about the 648. Do you have any other favorite Toro equipment that you find critical to work?
Yeah, I mean, both of our mowers are,
nice
Toro 3100s. Nice. So we have those. We have a Pro Force blower, which we utilize a ton during concerts because
the Ivy King.
We run magnets. We run an Allet mower to kind of sweep everything up.
Very nice.
But like there's just things that get missed, you know? And so going over the whole field and especially if there's any sort of confetti, we'll utilize that a ton.
Morgan Wallen, don't you dare have confetti.
He doesn't, thankfully. Those are just huge pieces. We have a workman that we use, for all of our watering. It has our water trailer that we water all those flowers outside that I was talking about with.
Gotcha.
Toro's an awesome company, and our supplier here in town is with Reinders, and those guys have been top of the line. Ryan Meyer is my rep, and if I have an issue, they're here the next day to look at it and take care of it. It's that's part of surrounding yourself with good people, and all the guys at Toro, Boyd and all those guys, they've done a lot of stuff for us, with our conferences and everything like that. It's the cool part about this industry is, it's very tight knit. There's not a whole lot of us, if you think about it, that do it.
I was having a conversation with my uncle earlier. He goes, yeah, because there's not many of you. I'm like, I guess it's kind of true. Yeah. You don't like to think of it that way, but it's true,
Right.
Sorry.
No, but it's, and for the most part, I mean, everybody's willing to help each other out. And that's really cool, because you don't get that in a lot of other industries, I don't think.
No. Because they're not this tight knit with stuff,
Exactly.
My students are like going to engineering. I was like, there's 10 million of you. Yeah, exactly. you can't go to a conference for the nation because there's just too many. If you go, you don't know nearly anyone. So
exactly, and we all want to see each other succeed.
Which is really unique. You don't see that in a lot of spaces.
Don't.
And again, no shots at golf, but even the golf side, there's times where I'm like, really? You have a problem? What? Why? I was like, just help them, it's incredible, because, and again, like most of the time, like, especially with the MLB guys, you guys are so tight knit, each other, you want to help out. I remember in Pittsburgh, like Ryan was calling Matt to go over to Heinz Field to see Beyonce stage because it was the biggest stage ever created.
Yep.
Which I can confirm, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It went from the third row to the third row of Heinz Field. So it was like, why? What do you need this much space for, So like those are the things that I just love about this industry, you
Yeah.
know, and it's great to see that it's not going to change anytime soon, you know, with that.
Yeah.
So, usually I wrap it up on a couple things, and we've already done this one already, so I'm still going to ask it, but you know, I mean, I'm trying to bring in the next generation, you know, with my kids and my students, and we've done a pretty good job, and it's not me doing it because a lot of people like to give me credit, and I'm like, please don't. Like, the connections my kids make with you, whether it's through the podcast or with other things, like just watching you on Twitter, like, what would be your best words of advice for them sort of getting into this industry, getting the opportunity to come work at Wrigley one day, maybe? Like, what was the best words of advice you can give them to make that first step into this?
Yeah. I would say, first of all, like, whatever it is you want to do, follow your passions. But if this is something that you want to do, you can work your way up. I mean, I've worked on parks and rec fields, you know, but you're providing something that people need and people are going to use. And the cool thing is people see it. Like I can't, you know, emphasize enough. Like, the coolest thing about our jobs is like that the work that you put in and how hard you know, all the hours maybe don't get seen by everybody, but the final product does. And that's like the coolest thing to me, you know, like you get to show off your talents. Like I said with the guy earlier, you know, that designed the Cubby Bear, you know, like he worked his butt off to like get that taken care of right away. And it took 8 hours to install, but it's like, it's something that, you know, has been a huge hit. The organizations love it. You know, there's been a lot of publicity about it. It's a job where you get to use your hands. You're outside. You're in the sun. You're in the rain. You're in the snow.
You're in the fun
in
stuff.
Everything.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it. You know, it's not the same every day. You're not going to sit at a desk or behind a computer and, you know, behind a keyboard. It's the same, but it's different. You know, you're trying to give the same result, even though the weather could be terrible, could be perfect, but it
has to be the same.
It has to be consistent every single day.
Yeah.
So that's something that I just love because, like you said earlier, these games don't happen without us. You want to go and find a career where you're somebody that is very important to an organization or a company or whoever it is you work for. This is a job that you can do it, and you can do all the things that you love and still, you know, be a huge impacting, you know, part of an organization. So.
And again, you hit the nail on the head, obviously, but like the thing that I love, and I see it in all of you guys, is like that you guys understand the role that you play is so much more than just like keeper of grass, dirt. Dr. Goatley, again, I mentioned him earlier, but Dr. Goatley always told us this line in class was, you're in the memory making business, you know, beyond just the players. Cause obviously, you know, you're setting the stage for, I mean, you were here in 2016 when they won the World Series. You set the stage for the field to be perfect, but you're also talking about all of the workers, all of those networks that were on your field 24/7, where they're doing the interviews, creating sort of archives of those memories. And then you have the fans who come again to the holy grounds of Wrigley Field. And it's just so incredible to be able to talk about that in the sense of like, it's so much more. And there are so many memories that can be made by so many different stakeholders. Like that's what's just so cool about it, and that's what I love about it.
It is. It's, you nailed it on the head with that.
Yeah. I do want to mention my dog's name is Wrigley, so it's pretty cool to me.
Awesome.
So
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's a red golden. Actually, I'll pull up a picture for you. I was like, she kind of looks like a Wrigley, you know. One that she's not like laying down. But you know.
That's awesome.
You know,
that's awesome.
You know.
And part of the memory making is for me too. Like, I get to bring my kids here. Like, if there's off days where there's nothing going on, you know, my son Jackson, my daughter Kate, you know, my wife Christy, they're all out here and they get to enjoy it too. So it's a cool part, you know, like those are the memories that now, like the World Series was awesome. And trust me, that's at the top of the list,
but the personal ones,
but there's the personal ones, you know, where you can think back and It's really cool.
Those
from
pictures
our
down the
perspective.
line where you're like, oh, well, my dad was pretty awesome, like they're gonna see that like this is pretty awesome.
And, I've been fortunate enough to, like I said, he gave me the keys to this Cadillac. I want people to come along for the ride,
For sure.
So,
Yeah.
people that are important to me, I want them to experience it.
And that's what makes you one of the best. So
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you taking the time and allowing us to come in here and be able to do this. Has been incredible. So thank you for
Anytime.
everything. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Keep up all your good work as well, man.
I'll try to.
When it comes to grounds maintenance, Toro's Groundsmaster mowers are the preferred choice for professionals who require nothing but the best. Visit Toro's website today to learn more about their Groundsmaster mowers and their entire lineup of commercial equipment. Toro, count on it.